right, welcome back to another fun-filled episode of Tiger Bytes, where we feature cutting-edge practices from all across campus, especially in the online space. And today we're here with Emily Cumbie, who's taken on a new role recently. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Could you talk about how you ended up at Auburn, and then within Auburn, how you ended up in your current position?
Sure, absolutely. So I came to Auburn in the year 2000 as a freshman, and I did not know it was going to be my home, but I've been here ever
Where are you
since.
from originally?
Birmingham.
Okay.
Grew up in Birmingham. So did 4 years of undergrad. Didn't really know what I wanted to do when I graduated, so stayed for another 2 years of grad school and got my first job working for what was at the time the Department of Children's Affairs. It has now become the Department of Early Childhood Education. And I was there when Alabama first started offering pre-K through the state. So I went and visited classrooms and helped support those teachers and just make sure that we were offering the best quality pre-K experience that Alabama children could have for the 4-year-olds. And we are currently ranked number 1 or number 2 annually in the whole country. So we did it right from the beginning, and that's something that our state should be really proud of.
I mean, that's amazing because there's a lot of things we rank in the 40s on.
Exactly. So North Carolina and Alabama consistently rank at the very top of state-funded 4-year-old pre-K. A position at Auburn University's Early Learning Center came open in 2007, and so I came back to Auburn as an employee at that point, and I taught 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds over at the Early Learning Center on campus, and I also started teaching some undergraduate classes, child development and things like that, and I did that for about 10 years, and then I took a little break to stay home with my own children. While I was gone, Dean Hubbard and our department head at the time, Dr. Angela Wiley, decided as a department here at Auburn University, we really needed to be supporting the early childhood workforce in our state to help support this pre-K program. And so we started putting in motion the steps and accreditations that we needed as a university to provide an education to these early childhood teachers that were not able to get a bachelor's degree. So they approached me and said, would you like to come back to Auburn and do this instead? And so now, instead of teaching in the early childhood classroom and teaching in a physical classroom here on campus, I'm managing the online early child development program for people who are working in the field of early care and education all over the state of Alabama and even beyond. We have some students
so you can
that
be from out of state as well.
Yes, so we have a student in Texas, we have a student in California. They say, we started in Alabama, we've moved, but we might come back, and so I still want to seek this certification. And so, yeah, it's been really an interesting journey.
Cool.
Yeah.
So the program's delivered fully online, asynchronously in 7.5-week mini terms.
Yes.
How did you decide on that sort of structure, and how does it help working professionals balance work and education?
Yeah, so I will say that the College of Business had been using that model, and it was working well for students in their online program. What I find is most of our students are working full-time in an early childhood classroom. A lot of them have families of their own to take care of, and so their free time might be 5 o'clock in the morning or 10 o'clock at night or from 12 to 2 while the children in their class are taking a nap. And so being able to provide it asynchronous where they can log in when their schedule allows is really beneficial for them. The 7.5-week mini-mesters, it just helps them to focus on 1 or 2 classes at a time. So at the end of the semester, they may still get 2 classes in the first half of fall and 2 classes in the second half of fall. They've completed 12 credits, just like most of our on-campus students would do, but they focus their time and attention on 2 classes at a time. So that just kind of helps them with their time management and their focus. And so it works really well for them to be able to have that flexibility to do the work when they have the time.
I wouldn't mind it if we experimented with that in in-person classes.
Yeah. Well, and we do offer some of our classes in a hybrid form where if there are extra seats, if a class is not full with distance students, then we might open it up to our on-campus students, and I will say that most of them really like it as well.
Right.
Yeah.
So when the program launched in 2022, you had 2 students. You
Yeah.
probably got to know them really well.
Yeah, I did.
And by mid-2024, enrollment was about 25, so that's pretty dramatic growth. What
Yeah.
factors have contributed to the growth, and how many do you have now?
So we currently have almost 40 students taking classes this fall semester, so fall 2025. In the beginning, there was some media coverage, and that really brought in an influx, but honestly, our growth has been attributed to word of mouth. Our students that are in the classroom and they tell the teacher down the hall or somebody that they see at a professional development training, hey, look, you can do this. Auburn is offering it. It is a great program. There's a ton of support for these students. And so they say, my co-teacher told me about this, or my coach, and those are people that work for the State Department of Early Childhood Education that kind of help monitor and supervise these classrooms and those teachers. They've been huge advocates when they see a classroom teacher that's doing a great job but hasn't earned a bachelor's degree yet, and they know you would be great as a lead teacher. All you need is your bachelor's degree. Let me give you this contact information. And so a lot of word of mouth, and it's just been consistent and steady growth.
What does the program cost? And are there scholarships?
That is a great question. So it's just the same as Auburn University tuition. The benefit to being a fully online program is that residency is not considered. And so even my student in California isn't considered an out-of-state student because we are just a fully online program. So standard tuition rate that Auburn University has across all of their programs, but we are fortunate that we partner with a couple of different groups to provide scholarships. You could probably guess that a pre-K teacher doesn't make a whole lot of money, but the Department of Early Childhood Education, who really is needing this workforce, they're supporting us with some state dollars to provide scholarships. There's also the Alabama Partnership for Children has a federally funded scholarship program that our students can take advantage of. And so we do all we can to bring in scholarship dollars to help support them. We can't cover full tuition for everybody, but every little bit helps. And we have a Tiger Giving Day project coming up in a couple of weeks. And so our scholarship is going to be one of the Tiger Giving Day projects. And so I hope that gets fully funded and those dollars will go.
What's the goal on the project?
$20,000. And all of those dollars will go to scholarships.
Right.
Yeah.
So here's a quote from a graduate. Emily was my advisor. She was always available to answer my questions. How do you maintain such a high level of support in the online environment?
So I really go into it with the mentality of my formal role is student success coordinator. And I know that these teachers are in the classrooms with their children from 8 to 3. And so if they need to call me at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock at night, I'm available for that. That might mean that I take personal time for myself from 8 to 9 o'clock in the morning, so I balance that knowing that sometimes I do work in the evenings or even on the weekends, but I'm committed to helping them be as successful as they want to be. And if they need to talk at night or on the weekends, we do tons of email, tons of Zooms, tons of phone calls. But because it is a still relatively small program, I am able to really have at least 1 to 2 touch points with each student each semester.
Right.
I help them register, I help them plan, and then sometimes I even talk with their principal or their coach, or if they're having a problem at work that I can help with, they know that I can be a source of support and encouragement for them. And so I teach their introductory class, which is the first class they take when they come into the program, and then I also supervise their internship. So I kind of welcome them in, and then I usher them out, and then in between I'm just there to support them in any way I can.
At what level of enrollment would you need a helper?
Getting there.
50 sounds like
Thankfully,
a lot.
yeah, it's a lot of students. I will say I do have some part-time help that does some of the computer work and stuff. Our faculty in HDFS have been amazing in helping me to also support these students. So my job, part of my job is to kind of align what classes the students need and then which faculty member is available to teach that. And so it's the same faculty that are teaching over here in, well,
Sure.
what was Spidle now,
Right.
wherever we are. But I have helped those faculty kind of understand the unique needs of these students. I always tell the students it's a team approach. If you need help from your faculty member and or me, like we work really closely together, and so just know we're a team here to help and support you. And so having our faculty support the students has been another huge benefit. They really do understand the unique needs of the students and have really gone above and beyond to help them be successful in the classes. And so I'm so appreciative that we have such amazing HDFS faculty on board with this.
So the completer program allows up to 60 transfer credits, can be finished in as few as 5 semesters. How do you balance academic rigor with flexibility for transfer students?
So really what we are looking for is for somebody to transfer in with the majority of the Auburn University core curriculum. And so for this specific degree, that's 41 credits. And so I want them to come in with their English comps and their biology and their history, and then really focus their time with us in those HDFS early child development classes. And so most of the time when you're studying something you're interested in, you're more motivated. And it's a
Sure.
little easier having them really in our HDFS and our early child development classes helps the students because so much of what they're learning in their class, their online class with Auburn, they're turning around and using it the next day at their work when they're communicating with a parent or they're working with a child. And so it really complements each other very well, and the students have said that like it is work, but it's so much of what I'm already doing, it's just helping me do what I do better.
So your collaboration with the State Department of Early Childhood Education, including a professional development grant, was pivotal in getting this whole thing going.
Yeah.
How do you cultivate and leverage such partnerships? You spend a lot of time reaching out to grant agencies and those sorts of things?
We do a lot of that. We fortunately have a really strong partnership with the Department of Early Childhood Education because they need qualified teachers to put in these classrooms, and we're able to provide the formal education that those students need. And so it has just it's a win-win. They're giving them jobs, we're providing their education to qualify for those jobs. And so we do a lot of conferences together, we do a lot of professional development stuff together, and then they help also connect their students with us and us with their students. And so it's really because it's beneficial for both parties, it's been a really easy match. The state has been very supportive and encouraging, and they're seeing the benefits of it. So I think that, you know, we just both have a vested interest in what's best for the children of our state and how to help prepare the teachers for those classrooms.
The curriculum emphasizes exploratory play-based learning, which, you know, traditionally you would think of that taking place in person. How do you bring that out in the online environment? Is there a lot of gamification?
So that was one of the biggest challenges that as faculty we really had to wrap our minds around. So when we have early child development students here on campus, we have the Early Learning Center here on campus where we all teach, and we have children there every day. So it's
Right.
really easy to say, come on over here on Tuesday mornings and let me show you this. Auburn Online was amazing in helping us build out our courses to bring in as much of what our on-campus students have as we were able, as you know, was reasonable. So we have tons of video footage of us in the classroom here with our students, and then we can upload that into the class, and we can say, watch this video clip of a 4-year-old teacher talking with 2 students about this math concept that is part of your early learning standards. And so they can watch it and they can reflect on it. And then the students have the opportunity to do the same. They take videos of themselves in their classrooms with their children and send them to the faculty.
Yeah.
And so we can look at it and we can say, hey, I noticed when you were talking with this kid about their language and literacy development, you did these things that are amazing. And next time you can also try to include these other things. And so we can actually provide them with feedback specific to them, just simply by using all of this technology that we have available to us. I mean, you can record yourself with your phone and upload it to your class, and then your teacher can see, your faculty member can see you working in your classroom with young children. So even though they're not here on campus, they're still embedded in a quality early childhood program somewhere. Most of them are state-funded pre-K classrooms. And so because of, again, that partnership with the Department of Early Childhood Education, we're able to really still hit the same goals that we have for our on-campus students here. We just use a lot of technology to make it happen.
Do a good portion of your students come for graduation at the end?
All of them.
Oh, wow. Every student?
They say,
Wow.
I never thought, I haven't had one not come yet.
Wow.
They said, I never thought that I would be able to earn a degree from Auburn University.
Great.
I never thought that this was going to be possible for me. I live in Huntsville or I live in Mobile. But when they get to that finish line, they're putting on that road and they're walking across that stage.
So looking ahead, how do you envision the program evolving? Do you want to have 200 students by 2030, for example? New content areas, different technology, expanded partnerships in order to meet workforce needs? What's the future?
Yeah. I would love to see the enrollment continue to grow because I know that there is still a lot of workforce need. I think our curriculum is always evolving as well. So we want to make sure that as a faculty at Auburn University and as a department that we're offering the latest information and best practices to our students. And so our classes and our curriculum are constantly evolving, both for our on-campus students and our online students. But I can see the program continuing to grow. I can see having an additional support person just on the administrative side because these students do take a lot of time and energy. And we want to continue to provide that to them because we've seen the benefit. When they know they have a human they can call or email or Zoom. I was just on the phone with one yesterday and she said, I'm just feeling really overwhelmed and I'm really confused and can you just talk me through a few things? And we spent 40 minutes on the phone, and when we got off the phone she said, I feel so much better. I think I can do this. You know, so really just being able to provide that high level of support leads to positive outcomes for the students and, you know, higher graduation rates and those types of things. And so yeah, I would love to see it grow. I would love to see our technology options to continue to advance. Auburn Online has been an amazing resource. I would love to continue to work with them to continue to build out our content and our courses and our resources for our students. Like you said, that technology piece, that's not my wheelhouse. Little people and big people I'm good with. Technology, not so much, but that will include, you know, funding and some outside knowledge. And so I can see that being our next couple of years.
Are you guys doing any role-playing type things in virtual reality?
We've not done any virtual reality yet, but I would love to explore that. Yeah.
I guess the other thing that comes to mind is, do you have any sort of scenario-based, what do they call it, branching programs where you make a decision and it takes you down this path? So, you know, this kid's acting up, you put them in timeout, what happens from there?
Yeah, actually, Auburn Online was able to build some of that for us. I don't have it in any of the courses I teach, but I would love to ask the faculty how those are working because I think those are really unique opportunities to say, I mean, because when you're working with people, I've told my students on campus all the time, I cannot always give you the right answer because
Right.
it depends. What did that kid have for breakfast? Did they get a good night's sleep last night? You know, there's all these factors that go into working with people and especially tiny people. And so, you know, I think that, you know, having that opportunity to practice different scenarios is really beneficial to them. The other piece that going back to your previous question, I want to continue building community amongst the online students. And so we have a lot of discussion boards. A lot of times they're in the same classes together over and over. And so they do get to know each other,
Right.
even though they don't live in the same town and they don't teach at the same school. But providing opportunities both within our coursework and also maybe just as a program for them to have community, I think gives them, again, that motivation to say, I can do this. She's doing it. When I have a question, I can ask a peer instead of, you know, you see students sitting around campus talking about their
Sure.
classes. These students don't have that, but I would like to think about some ways to build some additional community for them because I think that that helps to lead to their success as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So how about some fun questions?
I love to have fun.
All right. What's your favorite spot on campus to show off to visitors? Not Spidle Hall.
Not Spidle Hall. The new Spidle, when we get
Yes.
the Barbara Drummond Thorne building built, I will definitely show that off. But in the meantime, we walk downtown and we go to Toomer's and we either get an ice cream or a lemonade. And then across the street, which now it's an easy diagonal
Yes,
cross to
that's right.
Sanford Lawn. And you can walk and enjoy the beautiful scenery and take all of the fun pictures. So it's like just have to when somebody comes to town.
So if you had to describe Auburn in just one word, what would it be?
Family.
All right. What's one thing new students should absolutely do in their first semester at Auburn?
Get involved.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if it's a social group or a club or a sport or a club sport. Auburn has so much to offer to the student body. Yeah. You can do a million different things and find your people. And, you know, speaking from experience, your college friends are your life friends, right? So, like, get in here, just go to that meeting, go to that club orientation, go to the fairs, find something to get involved in, and start finding your people off the bat. You'll have the best 4 years of your life.
Or 5.
Or 6. As long as you can afford it.
But yeah, I mean, your tribe is out there. You just have to find them. And gosh, there's so many opportunities to join communities and make friends. It's just amazing. So if you had to eat at only one place in Auburn for the rest of the year, what would you pick?
I love food, and I frequent a lot of Auburn dining establishments. So that is a really hard question for me. But I think I would go with Pho Ly by Good Times on Glen, Vietnamese. The food is amazing. The owner is the friendliest guy. He knows everybody by name. You never have a bad experience. So if you've not tried Pho Ly, give it a try.
Last question. Would you rather have front row Iron Bowl tickets or an assigned parking spot?
Well, I would say Iron Bowl tickets.
Really?
I'm not afraid to walk. I can park anywhere. I get in my 10,000 steps. I can walk from whatever parking place I find to my office. But, I mean, front row Iron Bowl tickets, that's like...
Yeah, the golden ticket.
The golden ticket. Yeah, I'd definitely go with the tickets for sure.
Well, thanks for being here. I've enjoyed learning about your program, and it's certainly one that I think everybody on campus can be really proud of, and especially you.
Thank you so much. I am proud of the students, and I'm proud of our leadership for making this happen, but I appreciate you having me on.
And please join us next time on Tiger Bytes.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Tiger Bytes. We hope you enjoyed the conversation and gained some valuable insights. Please like, subscribe, and share this podcast with your friends and colleagues. You can find us on all major platforms. And keep learning, keep growing, and we'll see you next time on Tiger Bytes.